Hey, I just watched the 39 Steps, 1935 Alfred Hitchcock film starring Richard Donat and Madeline Carroll, with special assist from Peggy Ashcroft. It is definitely one of those a, innocent man pictures by Hitchcock, where a fellow's in a movie theater, not a movie theater, kind of a kind of a vaudevillian hall where there's Mr. Memory is on stage and he can remember anything, but shots ring out and the whole crowd has to spill out onto the streets, and and uh, Richard Donnett's character, who's been revealed to be a Canadian, probably one of the big Canadians of film, uh, Canadian characters of film, not Donnet himself. Hanny has kind of come out, helped out this woman out of the theater who only calls herself Miss Smith, uh, and she says, "Can I go back to your place?" And as Hitchcock innocent men do, maybe not so innocent, says, "Sure, it's your funeral. Yeah, you want to go back? Let's go back to my place." It's kind of pretty risque for 1935. Um, go back to his place where she finds out that she is actually a spy, and a foreign spy of some sort, but apparently working for the Brits in this case, with information that certain military secrets are going to get smuggled out of the country soon, and that she needs a map of Scotland because that's where she's going next. They go to sleep in a separate, him on the couch, her in the bedroom, very chaste that way. In the middle of the night, she stumbles out, going kind of saying some strange name under some strange name, and then collapses over him with a knife sticking out of her back. She's been stabbed to death, and the map has got a circle of a place on it, and there's a couple of heavies which she had pointed out earlier outside, and he's like, oh crap, they're gonna get me, and also, I'm gonna be perhaps accused of the murder of this woman because I'm the only one around. Gets the jacket of a milk delivery man who won't believe his story about there's a murdered woman upstairs, but the whole, I was cheating with a married woman and it's a husband. The husband is one of the dudes out there. He's like, oh well, hey, kind of this good natured, like, we're all screwing each other willy nilly. Like, it seems like a theme throughout the thing. He escapes to a train. There's a brazier salesman, which is hilarious. Um, on the train, he's evading the cops who are searching things. He jumps into a thing where there's this icy blonde woman who is Madeline Carroll, big movie star at the time, and says, "Oh, darling," and starts kissing her without her permission. And she's like, and kind of unclasping her hand. It's for another this interesting erotic thing of him, innocent man, having to do a lot of kind of very impersonations and enforcing himself perhaps on women. Uh, she immediately, once he releases her though, she immediately calls for help and gets some thing. He has to escape from the train. Escapes into the Scottish thing. Comes upon this Scottish farmer crofter guy who's kind of very gruff and older, and it's like, oh, and there's a young woman there. Is this your daughter? It's like, no, it's his wife, and it's a wife who's not very happy, played by Peggy Ashcroft, who they immediately kind of bond. And she's like, I could tell you about like all the cities like Montreal and London and all that. And she's like, there's a newspaper there. And he's like afraid about the newspaper. And indeed, the newspaper does mention him and escaping from the train. And over dinner, her eye happens to stray on that, and she immediately knows who he is, but doesn't give him away. And it's like, oh, and it's like they have this connection. And the husband does sense this, but thinks it's, you're trying to make love to her. Indeed, he goes outside and he looks at him through the window, and they're having this conversation, which it looks like a couple of lovers. And in the night, the cops come, and he takes the bribe, but he's going to go to the cops and see if there's a reward. She gets him out the other side. off into the countryside, and we continue along at this kind of click 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 pace of an Alfred Hitchcock thing, with lots of kind of little reveals of people's kind of the dark underbelly of a lot of people's sides, not just the villains, but the hero and all the other people. It does have, some clunky bits of, you can tell it's something filmed in 1935, but it's also got a lot of kind of those Hitchcockian things, much, especially kind of the traits of just like, how people are not virtuous. They have their own kind of hidden desires and stuff like that. Um, and it all kind of ends up in a kind of a rather crackerjack ending. Uh, though I still don't understand why the person who was the actual holder of the secrets actually does start saying it out loud, other than maybe it's just it's something that it's just their function and they have to do it. But it seems a little odd that way. But yeah. So it's a nice nice another entry in my Alfred Hitchcock collection of movies having seen, from Stranger on a Train to Psycho to Vertigo and all that. Yeah, I always enjoy Alfred Hitchcock movies. Indeed, it's funny in this one. I definitely do notice that um, there is a bit of that delight of Richard Donner hauling Madeleine Carroll around all over the place, humiliating her slightly violation. Uh, Good casting of Richard Donner, because he is such a charming kind of guy, sly, um, rascally, which is probably able to get away with it without kind of turning the audience away and not making you think that like Madeleine Carroll wouldn't just be like, oh, you are gross. It's like, no, he's got all that kind of rascally thing to him, which I guess is the way of 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 uh, of 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 Hitchcock kind of seducing the audience, seducing us into like accepting the behavior that he puts her through in various scenes. So yeah, interesting movie. Good to see. All right. I will leave it there with my review of Hitchcock, 39 Steps. It's cool watching, older movies and saying, oh, it's interesting, all the textures and subtexts uh, and uh, and hidden kind of digs in a movie like this that you don't expect from like the 30s to be this sophisticated and raw in ways, and kind of nasty as well. It's like, good stuff. All right, more videos later.